When pass half, when he pass Jesus was half. He is created by that theory. That thing you are testing is what has remained as the word I used as an accident. Okay. Yeah, the substance has changed, and when the substance changes, it means that thing is not the same thing that it was anymore. Okay. And that is what transubstantiation is during consecration. Other people talk about consubstantiation, especially with the influence of Martin Luther, a German priest of the 16th century. Mm-hmm. So now, consubstantiation is something totally different, and it is not even a Catholic position. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, some of our people are influenced by that theory of consubstantiation, which means that after consecration, mm-hmm. the substance of the bread and the wine still remains. Okay. But Jesus begins to coexist with the substance of the bread and the wine. Okay. So such that you can actually separate the two. You can say, this is the bread, this is Jesus. Mm-hmm. So after consecration, Jesus exists with what you see there as bread and wine. Now, the problem with that is that you can actually separate the two. If I'm existing with you, mm-hmm. it means that we can be separated, and that's the understanding, and that's what makes that theology totally wrong. That Jesus can be separated, but when you talk about the real presence, mm-hmm. transubstantiation, we are talking about Jesus himself. Jesus is not with the Eucharist or the bread and the wine. Mm-hmm. He is the bread and the wine. He is what you are receiving. Mm-hmm. I remember one time I was giving the Eucharist, during Mass, mm-hmm. but then the Eucharist was almost running out. So I remained with just a few hosts, but I still had a few more people, and it could not be enough for them. Mm-hmm. So I started breaking the Eucharist so that everybody receives. After Mass, somebody came and said, Bambo, when you pass half, when you pass Jesus was half. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So further, there are also sometimes, especially on Easter, some people would say, but we didn't receive wine. We only received bread. Kindly explain to us to say we receive both, not just.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That question is very important actually, because I think many people think about that. Babambo mama veka wine. Nanga ifwa estimu ako. So that estimu ako magazi yambi Yesu Kristo. When you receive the Eucharist, you have received Jesus, the Jesus who is alive. And if Jesus is alive, if it is the full body of Jesus, it is the Jesus that has the blood as well. Okay? You are not receiving separate. It's not like if you receive just the Eucharist without the bread, without the blood, then it's like you have received something that is missing something. You're not receiving something that does not have something. What you have received is something that has everything. It is Jesus who is alive. It is not a dead Jesus. When a body does not have blood, it is dead. Not so.
True.
Yeah. So when you receive the Eucharist without the chalice, the wine from the chalice, you have received Jesus who is alive. It's not the dead Jesus. Okay. Sometimes when the congregation is not very big, the priest can allow people to receive under both species, and I think that we do many times as priests. Sometimes you are giving a day of recollection to a small group of smokesang community. You can give them that privilege of receiving Jesus under both species. But in many times that is not practically possible. In many times, in Mtendere parish, you have I don't know how many people in church. And imagine if we have to, So, but the point we are trying to make is when you receive the Eucharist, you are not receiving something that is missing something.
Okay.
You are receiving something that has everything. You are receiving the Jesus that has everything. Even if the priest breaks, The priest is not breaking Jesus, such that when he gives you a particle of that, he's only giving you maybe the leg of Jesus or a part of Jesus. Jesus is fully present in every particle of the Eucharist. And that's why, for me, I tell the people that when you receive the Eucharist on your palm, you consume that Eucharist. Usually there are those particles that remain there. And maybe you might not even be able to see them. Maybe you might be able to see them if you pay attention. But there are those whitish particles that remain on your palm. Many people don't even pay attention. They just do. You know, they rub Jesus against their clothes and then they forget, because they believe that Jesus is only present in the Eucharist that they consumed and not in those particles. Jesus is present in every particle of the Eucharist. He is fully present. So when you realize that you have those particles, whitish particles, substances that have remained there, you have to consume that as well. You have to consume, because in those particles there is Jesus who is truly and really present.
All right, thank you so much, Father. So as you conclude, you can also include in, we've seen that on Holy Thursday there is the washing of the feet.
Yeah, you're right. So Jesus does not just institute the Eucharist and the priesthood. He is also teaching us service through the practice of washing of the feet. Jesus washes the dirty feet of the disciples. And those feet were very dirty, I can assure you, because those guys were not wearing shoes. They were wearing sandals, and they were not even, there were no vehicles there. They just walked hundreds of kilometers, and imagine how dirty those feet were. Jesus stoops down and washes those dirty feet. There's something deep and profound that he's trying to teach us in that. So when the priest begins to perform that particular activity or gesture during Mass on Holy Thursday, you know, the priest is acting in the person of Christ. It is Christ himself coming down to give an example to all of us that are watching, to say what Jesus is doing for those our brothers and sisters, washing their feet. We too should go back home and do what? Wash the feet of each other, in short. That we are not Christians so that we are elevated up and others remain down there. We are Christians so that we go down to those that are still down there, in order to save them in our humility and uplift them, to put them where we are ourselves. So it is a very important gesture of service. I talked about the common priesthood. There's also the ministerial priesthood. And in the ministerial priesthood, it is in the ministerial priesthood that Jesus is teaching you and me to humbly save one another through the act of the priest as he goes down to wash the feet of the people in the parish. And of course, in our case, as we go back home, we are not literally being asked to go and ask people to remove their shoes or to wash their feet. We know that that's not the point. The point is that when you go back home, you go back to the compound and you find somebody that is suffering, that is lacking something, and you have the means to do something about that situation. Don't walk away. Don't pretend you didn't see anything. Do something if you have the means. If you have some money to spend on that situation, maybe they don't have meal, whatever they don't have, do something about that situation. Once you reach out in that manner to that person who is in need, it is Jesus himself stooping down to wash the feet of that person through you. So it is important. It is an important gesture of service to one another.
All right. Thank you so much, Father, for your words of wisdom and for sharing to our dear viewers. Well, we have come to the end of the program. My name's Victoire Chilofia. Until we meet again, have a blessed day.